Hey folks, Dave here, and welcome to my impressions playthrough of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This will be a 3.5 hour impressions playthrough, so that will be 7 episodes. So this has been on my radar for quite some time. It's the spiritual successor to Planescape Torment. I know years ago on the channel I did an impressions video on Planescape Torment, and I wanted to play through it for a critique. I have not gotten around to that yet. Hopefully sometime in the future. Maybe because it's a game that's mostly text, it would be fun to play through in its entirety on the channel, but you'll have to tell me whether or not that's something you'd like to see. Anyway, this is the spiritual successor to the game. They cannot use the Planescape license, so they decided to create their own universe, but from what I understand, it's very much the same kind of game in that it's mostly based around dialogue rather than combat. Even more so than Planescape Torment from what I understand, because that game was still dealing with the D&D system, and they've been able to create this one from the ground up. So the other night I was looking through Xbox. I was looking through Game Pass for something to play, because I felt like playing something, but I didn't feel like playing the games I should be playing at the moment, if that makes sense to you all. And I saw that Torment was there. I'm like, oh, I've been wanting to play this for years, so why not do that? Without further ado, let's begin. Okay, here we go. You be female or male? Let's go male. Your mind wakes in darkness. Voice acting.
Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you. Your first emotion is an involuntary and formless panic. You feel you have forgotten something important, as if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them. You force your eyes open. A white-pink fleshy cocoon surrounds you. Even as you look, a minor rent in its side tears open, and the howling wind forces its way inside. The cocoon rips away, gone before you can grab it, spinning you into a dizzying tumble. You are falling, the world many kilometers beneath you. You catch a glimpse of a curved horizon, and also the ground beneath you that is approaching deceptively quickly. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in upon itself. A corona of acid green and black energy playing around its edges.
This reminds me of the intro to Disco Elysium, which I played earlier this year. You kind of wake up in blackness, unsure of what your surroundings are.
The wind buffets you and burns your eyes, but you don't need to see the details of the faraway ground to know you're in serious trouble. You won't survive a fall from this stratospheric height. A part of your frantic mind babbles that technically you probably fell from a thermospheric height. You struggle to stay focused as the ground rushes toward you.
Let's try and catch the wind.
Instinctively, you spread your arms and legs, and they respond sluggishly. You stop tumbling head over heels. Though you are still spinning laterally, that motion has calmed as well, and you have space to assess your situation, and perhaps to understand the predicament and the body in which you find yourself. Below you, you see a large landmass. A massive ocean dominates the rest of the visible globe, dotted here and there with island chains. Small moons, unusual structures, and strange machines rush past you in glittering profusion as you plummet toward the ground.
I'm going to try and remember what happened.
It's hazy. You were in a tall passageway, its sides slicked with dew, the air warm and moist, as if you were caught in the breath of a giant organism. You remember fleeing in fear and exhilaration, laughing through the terror. What was it that pursued you?
Yeah.
Something ancient and cold, its coiling power the promise of oblivion. Its shadowed tendrils struck at you, and the walls where they landed were torn apart utterly, destroyed beyond any hope of repair. You leapt into a membranous cocoon and fell from the station, the moon. And then you were empty. But who were you? What was that creature? A word surfaces in your thoughts, and you seize it before it vanishes. Sorrow. The world fills your sight. You're about to hit.
Give up and dive, try to stop the fall, or try to remember the sorrow. I think remembering might be the way to go here.
It hurts your mind to recall, but you push past it, a creature of the forgotten world seeking you out across the centuries. But it's not you it seeks, is it? It sought the man whose memories you shovel through now, and you realize suddenly that you are not him. You were... Who? Who were you? If you somehow managed to sidestep everything you know about anatomy, physics, and death, and you were surprised to realize that you do know something about them, and you survive this fall, you suspect that you might be able to reawaken a dormant strength you sense inside you. But who could possibly survive a fall from this height?
I can.
You remember reaching an escape tube, and you remember being struck by a tendril of force, and then the fall. The fall. You open your eyes in time to see a riot of color around you, your descent barely slowed, and then agony flares throughout your body as a crunching impact destroys you. The last thing you hear is a rapidly cycling line of energy, and then... darkness.
Okay. Oh, I can't move towards the light, or can I? Examine. Examine the darkness. I attack the darkness. Metal waves roll over the floor below, sending vibrations through the soles of your boots. Ah, I can interact with that thing. Jumbled thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow, as if it hungers for that light and needs to be filled. Yet the bowl remains dry. Another drop falls from the ceiling and splashes across the pylons, wasted. In these type of RPGs, I've learned that if you can use an ability to do something, it's usually preferable. But I bet you that there's heaps of exceptions to that rule. But for now, I think I'm going to try and move the bowl beneath the liquid. You've encountered your first task and have 3 stat pools: might, speed, and intellect. You can spend to increase your chances of success. This is called using effort. Okay. To more easily move the bowl in front of you, use mouse to spend might for a higher level of effort. Don't worry if you fail this task, and Torment failure often results in interesting outcomes. Okay, so it's like Disco Elysium. Okay, so I can... Right, at the moment I have a 45% chance to succeed. I can use some of my might to pop that up to 85. If I use 2, that's 65. That's still over 50%. What happens to my might? Does it go away? Does it come back? Well, why don't we try the full? You carefully take hold of the bowl, avoiding the teeth on the serrated rim. With a deep breath, you move it over the glowing pool of fallen light. Now, if I'm going to play these types of games, I got to learn to read properly, don't I? Ooh. Okay. Drop by drop, the bowl fills, ripples spreading over the blurred outline of your reflection. A pale blue luminescence stretches into the corners of the room. A clear radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you've begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Hello? Are you still alive down there? We're up here. Build a path up to us, and be careful. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I can zoom in and out. That's cool. My god, looks so generic. Generic Baldy. Wait, is he bald? I think he is. As soon as you touch the orb, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment's respite from this waterlogged hell, a bubble of stale air, your resting point. You've breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves, but this body's an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as you well know, but now he seems distracted. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires, and antennas. He believes it can get the two of you through the corroded door, but he's merely staring at it. Perhaps he's lost faith in his invention, but that is hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. Deceive him by telling him that you've heard sounds of pursuit. Threaten him until he returns to the task at hand. This is taking too long. Cast a spell, a necessary, to fix the device yourself. Well, I don't want to deceive or threaten, so I'm going to see if I can fix the problem myself. You mumble a few words, drawing power from the air around you until a solution appears in your mind. You snatch the device from his hands, rewire it, and shove it back at him. Oh, he says, examining your work. Sorry, I was trying to improve the thing. He waves the device at the door, and the stale air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond, a passage that links the water-boarded cells and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, your hands closing around a strange yet familiar artifact. You need to complete something. It hovers above a pedestal, rotating in the dark water. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hand crosses the vertical plane of the pedestal, and an iridescent field coalesces so fast the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water. Yeah, I was hearing that alarm. The guards won't be far behind. Okay, show more. So, run. You can come back to it. They won't be able to protect forever. Disable the sonar pulse, or use a device to stop them. One of the ciphers in your belt. Well, if they're already on their way, disabling the pulse won't help. So why don't I try and stop them? You run urgent fingers over the devices fastened to your waist, a fog rising in your mind. A few can be used against the guards, but will also turn your skin to steel or the surrounding water to boiling wax, hardly ideal. Finally, you find a small silver sphere. Setting the sphere in place, you kick desperately for the safety of a nearby alcove. The sphere whirls and unfolds into a spiraling vortex. The sphere at its center speaks a few polite words in an ancient language, then begins draining the surrounding water into itself with alarming speed. The approaching guards shout, then scream as they too are sucked into the whirlpool and ripped to pieces. You allow yourself a fleeting smile, but are all too aware that more alarms are going off in the distance. Oh, I didn't want to kill them. The memory begins to fade, as if you were being drawn backward through a tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else, a gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. Okay. Did you all get all that? 'Cause I'm kind of lost. Well, there's another orb. Let's go towards the orb. The orb! The orb! Another memory? You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth far below. Strange machines have been built into the cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metallic disc gleams from the center of the plateau. Your self-aware humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were desperately, this seems like the right place. Okay. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we found? Draw her attention to the hidden details that your more experienced eye can clearly see. Use your charm to persuade her with the merits of the site and to remind her of the time constraints. Convince her with the wisdom of your superior intellect. Uh, so, in each case, I'm like, well, I'm so much better than you. Let's use charm. A cloud passes over the sun as you engage her in spirited, friendly debate, pointing out the footprint of a prior world civilization whose power remains untapped. After a few minutes, she laughs, raising her hands in mock surrender. Stop. Your servitors are down there. You've already chosen this as the site, haven't you? She waits for your affirmation and says, all right, I'm convinced. The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend onto the plateau to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on the shoulder to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face within human speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Use the Numenera integrated into the construct's body to overwhelm the behavior malfunction. Examine the construct for mechanical faults. Look for a deeper solution. Perhaps it's an effect of the metallic disc itself. A mist falls onto the plateau as you wrap a fiber shielding mesh around the construct's skull. The mesh powers up, protecting the construct's mind from any transdimensional emissions that might be in the area. Taking a deep breath, you repeat your command. Acknowledged, it obediently trundles to the site of your new shelter. It trundles. The image freezes, then fades as you feel the memory filling the gap in your mind, block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head, reclaiming your memory's hurts. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift one by one on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you are doing and is hurting you. Well, so far it's definitely a game of the mind. Everything's very abstract. A vision of a city springs up around you. Your city in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you've brought a king-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door to the tower, two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor, and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. Trade blows with the giant you can handle, for at least a strike or two. Duck under the giant's swing and attack before he can strike. Fight defensively and figure out who presents the greater threat. The memory seems crystal clear. The giant is menacing, it's true, but the invisible blade of his companion is more worrisome still. The energy field that flickers and wavers around it suggests that she can carve matter at the molecular level, tearing pieces of her target into nothingness. Yeesh. If you're to save yourself, your best bet is to tackle her first. She's stuck behind the giant, waiting her turn to attack you, unable to bring her weapon to bear until he's out of the way. But it's clear that she expects him to handle you, and her eyes rove behind you, her focus on your ward. She's certainly not expecting you to dive between the giant's legs and come up inside her guard. She can't bring her blade to bear in time, and you drive your dagger up under her chin. You catch her before her deadly blade drops onto you and spin her around. The weapon slashes into the giant, and he topples bisected. The immediate threat ended. You focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. Hurl yourself against the door and knock them to the ground, crack the door open to sneak past them, charge through them, counting on your defenses to protect you. I think sneaking? You pass yourself through the gleaming door, easing it open, and your breath catches in your throat as it squeaks quietly, the sound like a bell in your memory. You pause, but the soldiers in the hall continue to talk. You push again, squeeze yourself through the narrow opening, and creep down the blood-stained hall. So far, especially with the lack of combat, I'm getting kind of a choose-your-own-adventure book vibe. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. A tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as though a massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room. Okay, so that was another memory. These are all memories. Ooh, a mirror. The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with a dizzying number of interlocked symbols, daggers, masks, paintbrushes, amulets, and more. That's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull at your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal tattoo on their head. In their eyes, their actions, you see the memories you discovered within the orbs and the choices you made shining like distant stars. Your hand twitches at your side, and though some of the bright doppelgangers ignore you, an even smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. A rumble shakes the room, and a small vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling toward the ceiling. Point at the doppelganger with the clever eyes. Point at the doppelganger with the mystical symbol on its brow. Point at the strong-willed doppelganger or step away from the mirror. I don't want to do strength. Now, do I do cleverness or do I do mysticism? Mystical symbol. Oh, I don't know. Decisions. What will Dave choose? Okay, I'll go mystical symbol. The doppelganger shoulders its way through the crowd, casually donning an 8-fingered glove. Then it dips its fingers into the glass between you. With a grunt, it tears a hole in the surface shaped like a pointed ear. Carefully, the doppelganger speaks an unfamiliar word into the ear, and the ground itself seems to turn, as if you were standing inside the door the doppelganger has just opened. When you look around, the hole has disappeared and nothing has changed. Or has it? The doppelganger plucks the 8-fingered glove from its hand and waits for your decision. I can choose the others, but why not? Yes, this is who I am. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Your chosen identity steps forward. Its appearance changes as it steps out of the rippling glass. Its face exudes intelligence and confidence. Shadows of several devices shimmer all around it, technology of several kinds from a myriad of past ages. You get the feeling you would be comfortable with all of it. The word nano sounds in your mind. Gain descriptor mystical. Your doppelganger continues walking, stepping into you, filling you, making you whole. Your decision rings out into the cavernous room, awakening and unlocking vast mechanisms behind the walls. Suddenly, a grotesque noise rings through your shared worlds, like a bell if bells could rot. Ooh, that's a nice description. Something is coming. Hey, I got my mic back. The mirror fades, leaving a dark open doorway. You take a deep breath and step through. Your choices and the memories in the mirror have begun to build your character. Now you have the opportunity to decide on a number of details. First, you can decide to change your type. Type defines the abilities and skills you'll be able to acquire as you advance. Okay. So, nanos are mages, wizards, sorcerers, or witches by the people of the ninth world. Nanos, whatever they're called, nanos master the mysteries of the past to the degree that they seem to perform miracles using esoteries, spell-like invocations that combine gestures, command words, and psychic disciplines. They tap into nanospirits, numerous particles that suffuse the landscape to alter reality or learn things that they couldn't otherwise know. Like, I could look at the others and maybe I'd want to be a glaive or a jack, but I chose nano, so let's continue with nano. So, concentration increase. I got, okay, 2 to the intellect pool. Okay, I've got a, let's see. Okay, 2 in heavy weapons, 2 in intimidation. I can intimidate. And 2 in medium weapons. 1 in concentration, 1 in cipher use, and 1 with mystical lore. I don't quite know what that means, but let's continue. Stat pools are resources used to apply effort or activate abilities. You can distribute points as you see fit. Glaives tend to favor might and or speed, while nanos favor intellect. Jacks usually benefit from balance set points. Okay. Jack of all trades, of course, yeah. Okay, I've got 2 points remaining. So, mental prowess will personality. So it's good to have more of that, right? Speed. Well, I've already got a +2 in intellect, so maybe reaction time. Okay, I do want 1 more in speed, but the question then is, do I want to forego might? Speed and intellect might be all I need. Yeah, let's try that. That sounds cool. Well-defined strengths and weaknesses. Oh, and looky there, my alarm just went off. Abilities unlocked by your type can be active actions such as attacks or spell-like esoterics or unique passive effects. Okay, can I escape? No. Okay. Well, look, it's probably going to take a little while more to finish off this character, and then we have the whole intro, I'm guessing, to go through. So why don't I just leave the episode off here? Well, what are my thoughts so far? Well, because I'm reading through the text, obviously this is going to be a slower playthrough than it would be if I'm just reading in my mind. But yeah, I'm intrigued. Let's say that. Like, we haven't seen much visually. It's mainly been in the description. I have liked the writing, although it really does dump you into a place where you don't know what the heck is going on. So yeah, I feel like I've been gathering my memories, and that whole intro was determining what kind of character my character is. And we will continue to do that in the next episode. So please tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments. And I hope to see you next time with part 2 of this Torment Tides of Numenera playthrough. Bye, everyone.